All right, traders, within this video, I'm going to share with you the top stocks that I'm currently watching for a potential trade, and I'm going to be giving you the trading plan within this video. It's going to walk you through step by step how I'm planning to trade the best setups at the best prices, what I'm looking for in terms of quick micro price action trades. I'm also going to be sharing with you my current views from a macro perspective on why the stock market may have potentially bottomed for the year and what I'm looking for moving forward. In terms of today, I did decide to make my first investment into stocks this year, and it was on Shopify. I'm currently invested into Shopify at an average cost of $638. If it does decide to pull back, my next level of interest in adding into that position is going to be in the 550s. So I'm going to be explaining to you my upcoming short-term micro plans, my micro trades. I'm also going to be walking you through my upcoming macro trades. I did decide to make a macro trade today on Shopify. So let's get right into the in-depth price action analysis. It's going to be a very important video lesson. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and make sure you guys smash that like button. So tomorrow is going to be Friday, meaning if you do decide to trade option contracts that expire tomorrow, they're going to be a lot more volatile, meaning you're typically going to make more than what you would make percentage wise, and you can also lose more than what you would normally lose percentage wise, right? So if you are going to trade those, the timing is going to be extremely important, and make sure to scale back in your position sizes that you would normally do and let the percentage of the contracts do the work for you, not the money that you put in. So with that being said, just wanted to address that as well. Always important to address that as we're heading into Friday. Now, in terms of SPY, let's do a micro price action on SPY. The past couple days, I've mainly been talking about the whole macro price action for the SPY. I want to address the micro. So in terms of the micro, we are due for a pullback. Now, here are going to be the two best prices to be attempting to buy put options on the SPY. So just to give you some updates, right now the VIX is currently ripping in after hours. SPY is currently having a gap down. It ended up closing very, very strong at 441, 441.07, and it is currently gapping down. So in terms of tomorrow, realistically speaking, the best thing you could do in terms of trading SPY tomorrow, if you're going to play puts, is to wait for it to spike back up and hit the previous closing price. If it gaps down, which it currently is, it's on track to have a nice little gap down. Wait for it to rip back up to the previous closing price. The key level is going to be 441.07. You see that react as a resistance level. Play the put options for a nice quick, micro trade in and out. Make your quick 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% plus. With that being said, in terms of strike prices, I would stay close to in the money. I would do like a 440 strike on the SPY, and I would do a put option on that expires, March 18th, and it would be a 440 strike. That's the game plan for SPY, keeping it very, very simple. In terms of one of the best levels to buy some macro put options and one of the best levels to be buying put options on the SPY, it's going to be $446.60. It's going to be very tough for this to hit tomorrow. It's definitely possible into next week, and within time, I do see it heading there. But in terms of tomorrow, it's going to be very tough, especially since it's gapping down, but anything's possible. But the truly best level is going to be at 446.60. Am I interested, since this is gapping down, at the 441 put opportunity? If it does rip up tomorrow to fill that gap, yes, I am. And if I get stopped out, guess what? I'll hit it at the next best level with a little bit more size. I'm cutting my losses quickly. And then when I win, the wins are going to outweigh the losses at least, 2 to 3 times more. I mean, just look at the potential, look at the downside potential at 446.60 on the SPY for the micro. It dropped 10 points and it went even much lower. So the key level of interest in the best price to be buying the SPY put options are going to be at 446.60. We can get there as soon as next week. So that's the current short-term plan in terms of the SPY put options. For a micro perspective, for a micro trade, I'm not interested in the call side because this already ripped massively from the gap close reversal. There was a gap fill at 416.25. We called this out in several videos ago, explaining how the best price to buy calls on SPY was at 416.25. It had its gap close reversal, and it shot up for 3 big green days straight now. Even with slightly, low volume on the SPY, it managed to do that, right? So with that being said, for the micro, it's due for a pullback. It is currently gapping down. So the game plan is to wait for the morning spike and to buy puts at the previous closing price. Set a stop at like 441, 0.50 to 442. I'm not going to be risking that much because the reality is, let me just show you the reality of what can happen when stocks don't have gap close reversals. They keep going. It's a one-sided directional trade. For example, there was a gap to fill above at 455.55 on the SPY, which was our key level of interest for buying the puts. I tried it. I got out for a very, very small 13% loss on the contracts, which is very, very small because we're typically hitting 30% plus. With that being said, once it flips and turns this key level into support, instead of having that big downside gap close reversal move, it's going to keep on going in the same direction it came from prior to filling the gap. It's going to keep on going up to then fill the next gap. And at the time being, the next gap that was waiting to fill above was right here. It's very small at $446.06, meaning if this key resistance, if this key gap fill level, you can see there was a gap to fill right here as well at nearly the same price. If that turns into support, SPY is going to be heading towards the next high of the daily candle, which is right around here, as you can see, at 441.11. So that history repeated itself. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Look at what previously happened at 441.11. It started to break down and it really had a hard micro sell-off. So if you're interested in swing trading SPY puts, you can try it for the micro. Not recommending that. I'm more interested in like a micro trade, but you can attempt that. In terms of swing trading, I think it's going to be best to really wait till 446.60. But yeah, we're at a very interesting level of SPY because you could just see what happened right around here when it hit this 441 level. So I'm extremely interested in doing some micro puts, giving it a try with a tight stop. If it rips to 441.50, if it rips to 442, just cut my losses quick and then try the next level at 446.60. That's the game plan for SPY. That's the bulletproof plan. Like I said, not interested in micro calls because it already had the big move. Calls are expensive. It's extremely high for the micro. It's due for a pullback. And I've studied this pattern. And when SPY tends to have these three slanted big green days, it tends to have a red day the next day. And it's currently doing that. Also, the market loves to sell off on Friday. It has a strong history of doing that. Some of my best trades on put options, I remember I had Lucid and SPY tanked as well. Some of my best trades have been on Friday. It's just because the contracts, are very, very lucrative. And we're in such a unique situation on the SPY because this was at $413 in the pre-market 2 days ago. Just 2 days ago on March 15th, this was at $413. This is a major overreaction for the micro where we're due for some pullback. And if you just look at this chart, we see the potential. We see what can happen, right? So with that being said, I'm micro bearish. I'm going to attempt at 441. If it doesn't work out, 446.60 will be the next micro bearish level. Now, in terms of other stocks that I'm looking at for potential micro trades, Bumble is going to be on high alert for a put option. So you're going to see this pattern with a lot of stocks recently where they had these three big slanted green days. The plan is to buy puts on the first red day, which should be tomorrow as they're currently trying to gap down. Wait for them to spike back up to the previous closing prices. The previous closing prices right here where they closed out today. Buy the puts at the spikes, use the tight stops, ride them back down for the day. With that being said, there's a gap to fill on Bumble at 28.80. If we can see a breakdown of 28.80 tomorrow and it reacts as a resistance level, I'm going to be very interested in playing some Bumble put options and riding this back down to 26. That can be a very big hitter. I'm telling you guys, tomorrow can make our entire week. In terms of this week, I'm currently up 12%. I'm up a little bit over 12% on the week in my day trading and short-term swing trading portfolio. My leap option portfolio took a big hit. But in terms of the day and short-term swing trading, the micro trading portfolio, I'm up 12%. And I've had two small red days these past 2 days. And I think Friday is going to be a phenomenal day within Trader Society. I'm seeing these opportunities. If we could just get a rip back towards the previous closing price, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the puts. It's just stocks are so due for such an overreaction for the micro. They're due for a pullback. So all we need is that first red day. We see that first red day, wait for them to go back up to the previous closing price. You can also play key breakdown levels, key resistance, buy the puts, and then ride them back down for the day. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking market sells off on Friday. So Bumble is going to be a top watch, keeping it very simple. Like I said, gap close reversal, and it goes back down, and it fills this intraday gap. There's a little gap right here to fill towards $26. That's where I see it heading. If 28.80 can break down and react as a resistance, play the Bumble puts for the micro. Forget the swing. Play for the micro. And the strike on those, like I said, March 18th, and the strike on those would be for Bumble, it would be like a 25 put strike. That'd be the game plan on that. Could also consider $30. We have to see how the liquidity and the volume is on these tomorrow. CAR, this is another interesting one. This one has a gap to fill right here at $305.16. If we can get to 305.16, react as a resistance level. Gonna be looking to play the puts. If not, the next level to buy puts on this would be $357.17. Make sure you're setting your price lows, guys. These are truly the best opportunities I'm seeing right now. There's going to be some great plays coming up. And those are going to be like the top ones. Those are going to be the top ones. So in terms of day trading opportunities, those are my top setups. Those are going to be my top plays, looking at the SPY and mainly Bumble. Those are my top setups, keeping it very simple, trading the best setups at the best prices. That's going to be the game plan for tomorrow, right? Now, let's talk about macro price action. So if you've been following my past two videos, they've mainly been about macro. They haven't been about micro price action. So just to give you an update in terms of macro price action, like I said, I do believe that the SPY may have potentially bottomed out for the year. It's definitely possible that this 410 was the bottom. I could definitely see that being possible. Do I think it's going to hit new all-time highs? No, but what I'm currently thinking is, for this year, not really. But what I'm currently thinking is on the SPY, I'm leaning more towards a spike to 460 before we try to crack 410 again. That's what I'm leaning more towards. I'm leaning more towards we go to 460 before we crack 410. That's where I stand on this buy right now. One variable from a technical view that's going to determine that for me is how it responds to 446.60. That's going to be a key level on how it responds. But I have this theory in terms of stocks right now where, if SPY can hit 460 in a couple months, I think it can happen within 3 to 6 months. That would be the time frame. These stocks are going to go back to their previous month high. That's where they're going to head back. So like Roblox, for example, the previous month high was at 57. Right now it's at 46. I can see within the next 3 to 6 months, I can see some gaps starting to fill. I could see some big corrections on some of these stocks. So my favorite ones for the macro to buy are going to be Shopify is the number one play I'm seeing right now. I'm extremely bullish on Shopify within the next 3 to 6 months. I could see this going to right here. There's a gap to fill at 746. That's going to be the key price target for now. Obviously, for the micro, it could head back to fill this gap right here at 553. And then if it shows signs of support, it's going to be a great opportunity to add more shares, right? I already took a position at 638. If it goes to 553 and it reacts as a support level, I'm going to be looking to add more shares there. But I do see this going to $746 within the next 3 to 6 months. If it reacts as a support level, I can see it going to as high as $800 to $850. If it reacts as a resistance level, I'm just gonna lock in profits and look to get back in. That's the plan on that. If you just look at Shopify, it's just so oversold. I mean, literally just a month ago, this was at $750. There's a gap to fill there. I definitely see that gap filling within the next couple of months. I can see that happening. At first it could go back down to fill this gap. Then we see a reversal. So if it goes back down to fill this gap, show signs of a reversal, I'm going to hit it with some leap call options. Right now, I just have shares. I think it's a great price to be buying shares. And I do think it could go to 550s before it goes to 750. I think that's a great possibility, but I think it's going to be a gift if it does to buy more shares and then to pick up some leap options if it can go that low. So looking for a gap close reversal at that level. Everything's due for a little micro pullback. It's such a big run from 500 to 657, such a big move, right? Another macro idea I like to just buy and hold within the next 3 to 6 months is PayPal. I like PayPal. This looks very explosive. This looks very bullish, gaps to fill above. I mean, I think all these are going to be good long-term investments where eventually, in a very long time, but eventually go back up and fill these gaps above. Another one is Facebook. So I kind of like those from a long-term point of view. Facebook has a nice gap to fill at 310. So those are my favorite ones. Those are some of my favorite ones for like a whole macro long-term trade where I hold for the next like 6 months. That would be kind of the game plan. And then only average down on like big pullbacks. I'm talking pullbacks as big as a 20% plus crash from my initial entry. But yeah, in terms of SPY, I'm looking at the history of SPY. I'm going back throughout the charts. I'm looking at the price action on stocks. It's just they're so oversold. I'm looking at stocks right now. They're just extremely oversold. They really are. Facebook bottomed out very, very nicely at this gap close reversal level right here in the 180s, and then it started to rocket. Like we're seeing a lot of trend reversals occurring as these stocks are hitting. Another reason why I like Shopify is this trend right here. For those of you who remember my crazy call out on the Tesla call options, this is the same setup. Right here is going to be $600. This is a key whole round number where Shopify was at all-time highs at the time being. Go back to February 12th of 2020. Look what happened. It went from 600 all the way to 310. That's a 50% crash. So what do you think is going to occur when a 50% crash resistance level breaks out and turns into support? It's gonna run. And that's exactly what happened. And it ran all the way to almost $1,800. Now look what happened. Look where it recently bottomed. It bottomed in the 500s, which is nearly at right here, this key resistance, this key previous all-time highs before it had that massive breakout, right? So that previous resistance is reacting as a support level now, which is very, very bullish. And Shopify is extremely oversold. I'll give you another example of what I'm talking about. This was the all-time highs at the time at $400. It has a massive crash. It goes to 288. It drops like 33%, whatever that is. Once it breaks out, it ramps up. And then you can see when it comes back down, it starts to turn those previous highs at 400 into support. And when it turns it into support, it ramps back up. I think we're looking at a similar situation for stocks. I'm not saying that they can't go lower for the long term. I think it's definitely a possibility that they do. And if they do, I see it as a gift to just average down. I think now is really a good time to start, putting some money into the market in terms of, if you're interested in investing into stocks. I think at these levels, these are great deals. And if they drop 30% below my entry, I think that's going to be a phenomenal opportunity to just buy and hold more. That's kind of how I see it right now. This is like the simpler version. It gets more advanced than this. But in terms of timing, I think the next 3 to 6 months are going to be good for these stocks. I think they're going to rise nicely, from the initial entries. And if not, they're going to be great opportunities to average cost down on big pullbacks only. I don't dollar average cost down. I only average cost down on massive pullbacks. But yeah, in terms of, my investing style, I wait for the massive pullbacks and I wait for the right, confirmations, the right signs of timing. And now is definitely a great time to start deploying money into the market. Not saying this is 100% the bottom at all, but I do believe these are going to be great prices to buy and hold for the stocks that I'm talking about. Not for the other ones that a lot of people are investing into, just ones that I'm talking about. That's what I'm speaking for, like Shopify, PayPal, Facebook, companies that aren't going anywhere anytime soon, and companies that push for new all-time highs, companies that have a consistent history of bottoming when they crash 50%. If you look at the history of Facebook, every single time the stock drops from its all-time highs, it bottoms at 50 to 60%. Just look at the history. Go look at the charts. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It does it every single time. And that's where we're currently at on Facebook. It's like it's a no-brainer. If this drops to 130, I'd go all in on this stock. So yeah, that's just my views on Facebook. Like if this ever went to 130, that's just a gift to buy more. Like at some point, these stocks are gonna rip back up within time to fill their gaps. They're not going anywhere. This is the beauty of investing into great companies that push for new all-time highs that have gaps to fill above. They always correct themselves in the long run. So it's just a matter of time. Great things take time. But yeah, if you're looking for passive investments, I think these are going to be great. If you're just looking to buy and hold, you have cash sitting around. As traders, we need investing portfolios as well because we're not going all into our trades. So we have to have a portfolio for the long term as well. And now is the time to really start considering to start investing some money into the market. And then, if we see that massive pullback, deploy more money into the big dip. Like for me, in terms of averaging my cost down, it has to be like a 25%, a 30% crash from my initial entry. Because think about it, I'm investing at insane levels. I could have bought Shopify at I could have bought Shopify at 1800. I'm telling people that I'm buying it now at 638. I'm not saying that's the bottom. I'm not saying this is the perfect time. I do think though within the next 3 to 6 months we're going to see some nice upside. But if we don't, it really doesn't matter because it's just the price is so low. And if it wants to go lower, it's just such a gift to even add more. Like gaps are going to fill over time. These stocks aren't going anywhere. Like Facebook is going to be a $300 stock, whether it's like next year, a couple years from now, like it's going to happen. It's just the reality of the situation. It's just going to take time though. But yeah, that's where I currently stand on investing into stocks. I think it's a good time to start deploying some money into the market, and the levels are very attractive. So in terms of SPY and some other things that I wanted to point in the macro, if you go back to 2020, look at where it bottomed. It bottomed at March 23rd. If you go to 2021, look at where SPY bottomed. Right here at around March 25th, it started to bottom out and then it just kept on ripping. I see this trend where SPY likes to run in mid-March, towards end of March. SPY likes to run, and the timing is very, very similar, and that pattern just keeps occurring. It's been occurring for the past 2 years. It just continuously happens. Like if you even go back to 2019, look right here. It had a nice little dip in late March 25th, had a nice pullback. Then it ramps up. Like it's definitely happening. If you study the history of SPY, end of March, it likes to ramp up. That's what it likes to do. And we saw a nice 10% plus pullback from the all-time highs. So we're due for some breakout. So my point of view on SPY is right now, I think we're on track to hit 460, not right away within time. It could take like 3 months, but within time, I think we're on track to hit 460. And when this hits 460, those stocks that I showed you are going to be trading at much higher levels, like Shopify, the great companies like Facebook. Those stocks are going to be trading at much higher levels when SPY hits 460. So that's my thoughts. I think we go to 460 before we attempt to crack a 410. There's going to be a lot of sideways chop. There's going to be, micro flips all the time. Another variable that's going to help determine that too is going to be 446.60. But that's where I stand on the whole macro, guys. I genuinely believe we're seeing a macro flip on the market. I really do. I really do. I can see these stocks that had a massive pullback within the past month. As time goes on, I can see them retrace back to their monthly highs and go even higher than that. I could see Shopify filling this gap at 750 within a couple months. I can definitely see that. I could see, Facebook. I could see Facebook going back to like $230, $240 in a couple months. I could see that. Same thing with, what was the other one? What was the other one? Shopify, Facebook, and we also had, what was the third one? PayPal. I could see, I could see PayPal really going back up towards like 120, 130s within time. That's like talking like potentially like months, but over time, these are going to go back up and fill their gaps. So that's my views. That's my thoughts on the market. If you have cash sitting aside and you're looking to invest into stocks, I think those would be some great stocks. And I think like the prices are very attractive and it should be a good time to start deploying some money into those. So yeah, that's how I see it. And if they go lower, it's a gift to add more, but only if it drops massively from my average, right? I don't average my dollar cost. I only average into massive pullbacks. Those would be like full conviction holds. So yeah, that's my thoughts on those. I finally decided to really invest into something for this year. And so far I'm invested into Shopify at 638. If it goes to 550 and we see a bullish reaction, I'm going to look to add more there. But yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on the overall market right now. It genuinely does look like we have bottomed, and it looks like we're gonna hit 460 before we crack 410. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my analysis, guys. Within this video, I gave you some amazing micro opportunities. I'm telling you, those should do extremely well. So heading into tomorrow and Monday should be very, very nice green days, especially tomorrow. Tomorrow should be very interesting. If we can get those stocks to go back to the previous closing prices, those are going to be some great opportunities to really try and play puts. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. If you're interested in trading live with us every single day at market open, you can get started right now. It's instant access. It's lifetime access. You could trade with us live tomorrow on stream. I'm telling you, tomorrow should be a phenomenal day within Trader Society. It's the first link down below in the description. Once you join, you also get instant access to the video lesson library. The video lesson library is going to teach you the gap method price action trading strategies. It's going to teach you how to trade price action both ways. When to go long, when to go short, when to buy the call options, when to buy the put options. It's really going to teach you those trading strategies, and it's also going to give you the entire trading system, the psychology, the mindset behind trading, and the risk management, the position sizing, right? So it's going to give you all the things that I've learned within the market throughout the past 10 years. And it's also going to give you instant access to the chat room. You'll get lifetime access to the chat room where you can network with me and other traders. You can also send me a one-on-one direct message. And during the live trading streams, you can ask me and us in the members within the chat questions live on the spot, right? Get your questions answered live on the spot. There's a lot more to it. You get access to the real-time trade alerts and the watch list. I'm telling you, these watch lists have been highly effective. I'll show you real quick just some of the ideas that we've had within the watch list. So in terms of SPY puts and with watch lists, so at like 1:31 a.m. Yesterday, I told people I'm looking to buy call options on stocks tomorrow. So technically today, looking to buy call options on stocks tomorrow, ideally on a big dip towards open. Literally, if we would have done that, that would have been a phenomenal opportunity. And then I was explaining to how I'm going to be investing into Shop, how I'm planning to invest into Facebook, explaining how wait till 446 for a macro opportunity. The new update is going to be the 441. And I give my updates within these watch lists, and I really prepare you guys to trade the best setups at the best prices. We've had some phenomenal ideas. I mean, look at this on March 15th, Shopify. If 520 can turn into support, this could seriously run to 550 plus. As of now, it has bottomed at the key 515 gap close reversal level. I mean, we've called all these out. But yeah, guys, that's kind of where I stand. Like, this is gonna be a great long-term investment if you are interested in it. I would definitely recommend signing up. Wow, Tyler, very, very nicely done. But yeah, shout out to those of you who've been killing it within Trader Society. We're going to continue to do so. The green streak has ended, but you know what? I'm going to get right back on it. It's time to kill it again. So yeah, if you're interested in joining Trader Society, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. And I will see you guys in the live trading session tomorrow. The watch list is going to be sent out. The updated version with the key price action analysis updates is going to be sent out tomorrow. So that's going to wrap up today's video.